Well, here we are at Sand Hill Orchards, and got a storm moving in, and it's a beautiful fall evening. And down here, north of the lower orchard, is going to be clear cut, and it's going to have room for 100 more trees out there, maybe more. Grapes, blueberries, all sorts of things. It's being clear cut all the way around here. You see they're starting over here to my right. Down there, below there, being clear cut now, and they're going to work their way around. And then let's go here to the other end of the deck and see the other part that's being clear cut. You can see the brush piles down there. Way off to the right hand side. Might have to put that camera up a little higher. Yeah, now we can see. So down below the greenhouse there, which still isn't finished, if I can afford to get that clear cut too. The orchards are expanding. Now we're going to go to the cabin orchard and take a look at Turley Winesap and a Nova Easygro, which I think the Nova Easygro is ripe. The Turley Winesap, not so much, not for a couple weeks, but we'll give it a taste test anyway. Let's jump on the buggy and well, here we are in the cabin orchard, and we're at the Nova Easygro tree, and it's called Nova Easygro, new Easygro. It's a grower-friendly tree. As you can see, this tree here is, let's see, it was planted in 2003, so it's 11 years old from planting, and it is about 12 feet tall. This is its first good crop. It had maybe a couple dozen apples last year, but they all fell. It's fairly open, pretty easy to prune. The fruit is medium to large, flattened, usually a little bit, kind of like a Macintosh. About 80% red striped over greenish yellow background. The flavor is pretty good. It reminds me of a Macintosh, but a little firmer and a little drier. It's snow white in color, crisp and crunchy, mildly sweet but not tart, and slightly juicy. Not as juicy as some apples. It's used for desserts and eating. It keeps well for several months under refrigeration. It's resistant to apple blight, fire blight, scab, powdery mildew, and cedar apple rust. The blossoms are real long lasting, so for those late frosts it does well. It is slightly tough at picking time, but it mellows in storage. A few of the Nova Easygro apples are already falling. This is the end of September 27th or 8th. And they should be ripe. I think we'll be picking them tomorrow. Hey, look at the trunk again down here. This is the wire mesh that I've been putting around my trees to keep the protected from voles and rabbits. I don't have to take it off in the summertime like the vinyl tree wraps. I do have to take it off sometimes to get to branches that are growing inside, but that doesn't have to be a yearly thing. The descriptions I've found online are correct in that the tree has its apples fairly widely spaced. you don't see them all clumping up in big ropes or something. So they don't tend to bend down under the weight of apples too much. All in all, it's a good apple, I think, for a deer apple, or for out in the orchard if you want to feed the wildlife and have something for good pies or baking. And all apples will have this bloom, which is kind of a dusty coloring on them. Okay, and that's a protection for the tree. But if you shine it up, you see that, mosquitoes, that they're nice and red, pretty. Greenish background with a red stripe. And very, very shiny. So I'm going to taste test one now. That's juicier than it was just last week. So last week I tried one and I thought, well, that's kind of a dry apple. It's not dry anymore. That's a good apple. Reminds me of a Macintosh a little bit. The texture, not necessarily the taste. It's an okay apple. Okay, let's go to the Turley Winesap now. Over here. Not a big set on the Turley Winesap this year. It is the first apples this tree has had. Well, it might have had one or two in years past, but this is the first real set. So it's a light load. The Turley Winesap comes from an open pollinated seedling of the winesap or stamen winesap. The Turley Winesap was found by Joe Benton of Orleans, Indiana, sometime before 1917. It's medium to large in size and round to oblate in shape. The skin is a dull red, covering most of the surface of the fruit, and the greenish cream flesh is firm, juicy, and subacid. A little bit tart. The tree is a triploid, so it does not produce pollen. It grows vigorously with strong scaffold branches. The Turley Winesap resembles stamen winesap, but it's more crack resistant and is considered of lesser eating quality than the stamen. It stores well and ripens in early October, which next week I'll probably be picking it. It ripens about a week before the stamen. Turley Winesap apple trees are known for their strong scaffolding branches, which make up the framework of the tree, and the fruit-bearing limbs grow from them. Sturdy trees make harvesting easier and they suffer less damage from wind and weather. Turley apples were an important economic variety in the first part of the 20th century. They held for long periods in cold storage due to their firmness, and Turleys could be transported long distances by rail car with little shipping damage. Their color and size make them popular in markets, and their flavor make them a very favorite apple variety, especially for baking. And it's starting to rain.